One of my favorite opportunities that we have when we read Scripture is to be reminded of the faithfulness of God in times that were uncertain, uncharted, times where the people of God could feel anxious and fearful. I mentioned on Sunday that my son Gideon, who's almost 3 years old, and I have we've been reading through this Jesus storybook Bible, and it tells the story of the entire Bible, but it tries to draw everything back to Jesus and kind of shoot forward to his story. And today we, like every day, we're reading in this, and we were at this story that's really great if you've never heard about it. It's in the book of Exodus, where God frees his children who were enslaved in Egypt. He uses this man named Moses. And this is what it says in their version. It says, the Israelites, just to give a little context, they are finally freed to go, and they get there, and they're surrounded where they're looking, and there's the Red Sea that they have to try to get across, but there's no way for them to get across, and behind them is Pharaoh and his army coming for them. And this is what it says. What were God's people going to do? In front of them was a big sea. It was so big that there was no way around it. But there was no way through it. It was too deep. And they didn't have any boats, so they couldn't sail across, and they couldn't swim across because it was too far and they would drown. And they couldn't turn back because Pharaoh was chasing them. They could see the flashing swords now glittering in the baking sun and the dust clouds of the chariot after scary chariot surging towards them. So they did the only thing that they felt like there was to do. Panic. Sounds a lot like what we see in our world today. "We're gonna die," they shrieked. "Don't be afraid," Moses said. "But there's nothing we can do," they screamed. And Moses said, "God knows you can't do anything. God will do it for you. Trust him and watch." "But there's no way," they cried. "God will make a way." Right after this is when God parts the Red Sea so that the Israelites could walk on dry land to freedom. When I got done reading this, every day when we get done reading our story, I try to ask Gideon, my son, questions to see if he really got it or if he remembered things. And as we were talking and asking different questions about what we read, he started to say something in toddler fashion where I wasn't exactly sure what the translation was until I heard him say it again and again, and he just said, "God has a plan. God has a plan." Jesus talks about that if you want to come and be in relationship with him, if you want to follow him with faith, that we must have a childlike faith. So tonight, my big encouragement to you is just this. Trust that God has a plan. Know that he is a waymaker. And be okay with, in the midst of this time when things are uncertain, be okay with not knowing all the answers, not knowing how everything looks ahead, and still choosing to trust him and still leaning into his presence. In this time where there is a lot that is unknown, may you use this opportunity to be known by God and to know God in a deeper way. Friends, I hope you have a great week. I love you. Continue to dive into his word to be reminded of his faithfulness, to know more about who he is, and carve out time in prayer to make sure that you're connecting with him deeply. Remember, God deeply and desperately just wants you to be in relationship with him. He sent his son Jesus, not to restart a religion, but to restore a family. You too can be a child of God. Come to his table. Find peace, find hope, find love. Hey, we'll see you online here more this week.